Hey everyone, and welcome to Flint Community Players Artist Spotlight, where we highlight the artists that lend their talents to Flint Community Players, along with artists from the greater Flint and Genesee County area. Today we have a special Artist Spotlight episode where we do a post-show discussion with the two most recent directors here from Flint Community Players.
My name is Madison Griffin, and I directed Decision Height.
My name is Jordan Climie. I directed GIDION'S at Flint Community Players.
So what drew you to want to direct this particular production?
So what really drew me to it was the fact that it is an all-female production, which on its own I find super powerful. And then also the content of the show, which is mostly based in World War II, and actually it's very based in World War II. It is definitely a part of history that I'm super passionate about both learning and teaching. So it was super cool that it was set in that time period.
Sure. I mean, obviously, it's a wonderfully written play. So Jonna Adams had an amazing script that she wrote. But ultimately, what drew it to me, in my personal life, there have been instances of mental health issues. For myself, I think a big thing for me is, and I'll put it out there because I'm a pretty big mental health advocate. I've tried to commit suicide before. Thankfully, I have failed at that attempt. And in this play, and there's really no spoiler anymore since we already had it done and everything. Gideon had killed himself. That's kind of the center of the play, the conflict between the two actors as to why and the causes leading up to that. And I know for me, when I finally told my mother about my instance of attempted suicide, it was something that it was painful, but it was also I was able to still be there. So I think it was something personal for me to kind of see in Corinne what my mother might have been like had I succeeded in my attempt. And I think even though there's a lot more to Gideon's Knot than just Gideon committing suicide, plenty of themes to go around to talk about, but I think that's something that first really drew me in terms of me wanting to apply to direct this and really having a strong vision that I wanted to follow through with for it.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your experience directing with Flint Community Players was?
It was an absolutely amazing experience. Every single person that I encountered and worked with at FCP was absolutely amazing. They were super understanding, they were super communicative, and also super comforting when I expressed that I was a little bit nervous to direct at a community theater level. It was definitely a different experience for me, but it was amazing.
In terms of how the process was, it was just us really becoming a small family for about 6 weeks and just being able to be open, vulnerable, show emotion a lot of times and be comfortable doing that. And I think I can't give kudos enough to Taylor and Tomoko for what they pulled off. I can sit back and I can shape things, I can give direction here and there, but they're the ones that had to really just dive in and become these characters, and it's not an easy thing to do. So thankfully we became a family, and I had a good family around me to work with.
Now that the show is done, one of the best things as a director is the audience reactions that you get and just being able to see what people think of the show. What would you say was your favorite audience reaction that you got from the show?
My favorite audience reaction was definitely when one of the characters in the show, Norma Jean, she ends up being a very mother-like figure near the middle of the show. And near the end, she actually dies in a plane crash. And we signified her death by, after she completed her singing in that scene, we shifted to a completely red light and a blackout. And the silence in the audience, you could have heard a pin drop. It was super powerful, and the fact that the audience was so engrossed in it was definitely my favorite audience reaction by far.
someone came up to me after the third our matinee on Sunday, and he said, I had my butt clenched the entire time, which is just like, he was like, it was so tense and he was so into it. And that was a broader thing of just being able to watch it every night from the back, looking at not only what the actors were doing, but the audience was reacting as well. Just so much silence, which was great, because the silence was also just like everyone was just focused into it. So I knew, that our actors were doing an amazing job of, keeping attention, using the script to drive, and everyone wondering what's going to happen next. So between moments of laughter, between moments of just verbal, like, I can't believe that's happening, to just feeling moments of tension for 80 minutes, the entire show. I think this play was, the audience reactions were a great indicator of, one, how good the actors did, and then two, just how great of a script it is overall.
So obviously, with a 6-week rehearsal process, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and there's a lot of cool memories that are made and moments shared. What is a rehearsal memory that you feel comfortable sharing that you will always cherish and remember?
I gotta go with the beginning and the end. The first rehearsal, you walked in the room and you could feel that the first read-through that they did of this show was, they loved it. They loved their characters. They were having fun with it. And then the last rehearsal that we had, which was our brush-up rehearsal, was absolutely hilarious. And it is a rehearsal that I will always remember. One of our characters, Carol, who was played by Devin Morgan, she was nicknamed Shrimp in this show. Carol was. And it was a running joke for the entire production process. And she periodically would come out in a shrimp costume during this brush-up rehearsal, and no one knew when she was going to do it. And it was just hilarious, and the girls had a lot of fun acting out to the scenes in a completely different manner than those of you who came to see the show would have seen, but it was amazing.
I think it probably goes back to those debriefing sessions. At the end of the time, we'd rehearse sometimes for maybe only 2 hours a night. Maybe just do some table work or some quick scene work, but it'd only be like maybe 90 minutes of work, because that last half hour we need to just like step away now and breathe. And I think, we watched plenty of dog and cat videos on TikTok. We were able to just act dumb and stupid, and those are my words, obviously not putting that on the cast, but for me, I was able to leave stuff at the theater. They were able to leave stuff at the theater. And I think that is again, I'll reiterate it. It's really what drove this to be something real, and something where, we were able to all work together, and there wasn't this feeling of isolation. There wasn't this feeling of, I'm being dragged down by this.
All right, well, that does it for today's post-show discussion artist spotlight. So thank you so much to Madison Griffin and Jordan Climie for joining us today.
I would like to thank everyone for coming out and seeing Decision Heights. It was a beautiful show, and I'm so thankful for every single person who helped put this show together and came and saw it and supported it. Everyone on the cast and crew, I would like to thank you guys again for making this such an amazing experience for both myself and everyone involved in the production. I will definitely remember you guys for a long time.
I can't thank enough, the people that decided to take a chance also on going to see a 2-person show that wasn't a musical. I can be honest, those obviously don't sell as much as something that might be known or something that's bigger and broader. But I think the stuff in this show was incredibly important to start discussions with. I know plenty of people did have discussions after they saw this show. I'm still talking to people, weeks afterwards about it, just about like, what do you think this meant, or why do you do this, kind of a thing. This kind of theater it's so important to be able to view, digest, and discuss. So I can't thank enough the people that came to see it. Obviously, huge thanks. I'll never be able to thank enough. Taylor, Tomoko, Alex, Dom, everyone who worked on it behind the scenes and on stage for this, giving their time and a lot of their emotional energy for this. They helped tell an amazing story, and I just can't give them all the kudos in the world, and it wouldn't be enough. Ultimately, I'd love to leave with just kind of final note, like, if for anyone watching this, if you see a show and it's like, this seems kind of heavy, or this doesn't seem up my alley, like, still give it a try, especially at FCP. Ghostlight show is what, $10 to go see, and it can be something that's life-changing, that can really make you think, that's ultimately just good theater. So I think, give shows like this that you might not be comfortable with a shot. Be uncomfortable for an hour and a half and just experience something, as theater is meant to do. So I just can't push that enough for people.
2022 may be finished, but the 94th season is not. We still have several more shows going on the rest of this season, so we hope to see you in January for the Spitfire Grill to be able to kick off the rest of our 94th season. Until then, have a great holiday and a Happy New Year.